Welcome back, Commanders. My name is Alchrist, and today I'll be briefing you on your brand new T-Doll, your Senpai of Justice, Nagant. Nagant is a support pistol whipping 7-shooter T-Doll. She excels at stability breaking and defense shredding. She is also capable of applying corrosion debuffs and stunning enemies in their tracks. I will mention that in all my guides I'll be referring to Confectant's Index as skill points, since this is much easier to understand. Nagant's skill point generation mechanic is tied to a passive, Veteran Skills. Each instance of damage she deals, she will get 1 skill point. Her passive will also allow her to automatically shoot any enemy that comes within her range during the enemy phase, and she will deal physical damage equal to 50% of her attack and reducing 2 stability. If the target had a defense debuff, she will instantly stun them for 1 turn. The 1 turn stun during their turn will actually mean it will be removed immediately, thus really only stopping them for their current turn. However, it is really good at triggering support actions. Nagant's basic attack is point shooting. It has a range of 6 and deals physical damage equal to 80% of her attack and reducing 3 stability. Nagant's active skill 1 is Senior's Admonishment, which has a 2-turn cooldown. She targets an enemy up to 6 tiles away and deals physical damage equal to 130% of her attack and reducing 4 stability. If this attack causes stability break, she will apply acid corrosion for 1 turn, reducing their defense by 30%. Nagant's active skill 2 is Friend of Justice, which has a 3-turn cooldown. She targets an enemy up to 6 tiles away and deals physical damage equal to 70% of her attack and reducing 3 stability. If there were no enemies within 4 tiles of her, she will do a second instance of this attack and apply acid corrosion to them for 1 turn, again reducing the defense by 30%. Nagant's ultimate is Sanctions Declaration, which costs 3 skill points. She targets an enemy up to 6 tiles away and deals corrosion damage equal to 150% of her attack and reducing stability by 4. If the target has a defense debuff, she will reduce 6 stability instead, and she will apply Vulnerable before performing this attack, increasing the amount of damage they take by 10% for 2 turns. When deploying Nagant onto the field, the key element to playing her is stability breaking enemies and applying defense downs for her fellow core highs to take advantage of. Her defense downs do have conditional effects to apply, so keep that in mind as you think about the best way to approach enemies. She is best paired with another T-Doll that can apply defense downs as well, as the short duration of her debuffs kinda anti-synergize with herself. When it comes to a basic rotation, she doesn't really have one. Instead, use her kit based on the situation she is faced with. Use active skill 1 to break enemies. Use active skill 2 on cooldown. And use ultimate whenever available, ideally on defense debuff targets. On to her pros and cons. Her ability to just perform a normal attack on enemy turn is surprisingly good. It's an extra attack that can trigger support actions and can stun on targets with defense debuffs. She's actually one of the few characters that is capable of stunning, which can come in clutch. Her acid corrosion debuff that reduces 30% of defense is really good, and can be stacked with other defense reducing debuffs. And all of her abilities reduce 4 to 6 stability, which is quite strong. As for her cons, she's surprisingly difficult to use. Her debuffs only last 1 turn, which doesn't sync up with her ultimate, relying on another source of a defense debuff. And both of her skills are cooldown based, which can be quite lengthy. And not only that, all 3 of her abilities require a condition to actually apply the debuff, so you're trapped between using her skills on cooldown or using them to proc the debuff. And her range is only 6, which is technically in line with the other handgun users, but she has less movement than Kofni and doesn't have anything to do if not within range of an enemy. Nagant's best weapon is the Battle Pass, the Papa Figo. Its trait increases basic attack range by 1 and gains 1 skill point after attacking. Its effect is Mobile Cover, which increases healing and damage by 15% if Nagant is at max HP. Otherwise, just use the namesake, the Nagant. Its trait increases her range and stability damage by 1 outside of her own turn. Its effect will increase her skill damage after applying a debuff. If the debuff applied is a defense debuff, she will apply a second debuff and the next skill damage will be increased further. Her attachments follow the DPS archetype, focusing first on attack percent, attack, crit rate, and then crit damage. Reminder that the only attachment that can have the crit damage is the muzzle. When it comes to which attachment sets to farm, use the Face Strike set. It increases damage by 15% as long as I have an elemental debuff, which she can't actually reliably do herself thanks to her one-turn applications. When it comes to her fixed keys, the best ones to obtain are 201, Veteran's Experience. When attacking an enemy with defensive debuffs, her cooldowns will go down by 1. Very helpful for Nagant. 403, Legend of Guardians. When using active skill 2, if she triggered the second attack, instead of doing the same amount of damage twice, it is split so that the first hit only hits for 10% of her attack, but a second hit hits for 130% of her attack. This is good for a better damage multiplier, plus the first hit can be used to break stability for the second hit to do more damage. 603, Bullet of Justice. If her active skill 1 breaks stability, she will deal some extra fixed damage equal to 50% of her attack. Fixed keys 201, 401 and 601 are situational and are not recommended for a core build. Her common key is Veteran's Wisdom. It will deal more damage against enemies with less stability than her. Other common keys she can steal are Diane's Shattering Stone and Silk, which increases her movement every second turn, or Urid's Mangle, which deals more damage to enemies below max HP. Otherwise, any common key that increases attack or crit values would work. Next, we'll have a quick look at the Fortifications. V1, her active skill 2's cooldown will be reduced by 1 if it hits a target with a defense debuff. V2, her ultimate will get a 20% crit rate bonus versus targets with a defense debuff. V3 reduces the condition to activate the second attack from her active skill 2 from having no enemies within 4 tiles to only 3 tiles. V4, the multiplier of her ultimate is increased to 160% of her attack. At V5, the attack from her passive now deals 80% of her attack and reducing 3 stability. And at V6, her passive attack can be triggered a second time. To finish off, we'll have a quick look at suitable teammates to field along Nagant. Her best pairing is Mosin Nagant. Nagant's high stability and defense downs synergizes with Mosin really well. QJ pairs extremely good as well, especially at V6, where Nagant can trigger a passive twice for 2 free support actions. Plus QJ's fixed keys that inflicts defense downs before support actions really synergizes here too. Nagant's passive will target an enemy, which will trigger QJ's key to inflict the defense down. And then when Nagant's damage applies, it will stun, being able to stop 2 enemies from performing any actions. Latara is a really good pairing as well, as she can apply defense downs to multiple enemies at once. Nemesis also applies defense downs to enemies, but only for a single turn, but it is enough for Nagant to hit them with an ultimate. Otherwise, Nagant is just a good field to apply defense downs and increase team damage. Here are some examples of team compositions. And that about wraps up this character briefing for Nagant. I hope this guide helps, and if you have any other suggestions on her builder teammates, make sure to leave a comment below. Until next time, Commanders.